fight against corruption in Nigeria is a protracted one that dates back decades. Just recently, we were reminded of that fact when the National Crime Agency, that's the NCA in the United Kingdom, said it has recovered $23 million. That's over $23 million loot, and that's about 9 billion naira at least, believed to have been siphoned out of Nigeria in the 1990s by the associates and family of former head of state General Sani Abacha. Now, according to a communique issued by the agency on Thursday, the funds formed part of a larger pool of monies identified by the United States Department of Justice as having been misappropriated by Abacha and his allies. The NCA reveals that the funds have now been transferred to the Home Office for onward transmission to the U.S. Department of Justice. It says it pursued nearly 7 years of protracted litigation and international negotiation to obtain the recovery order in order to enforce the U.S. forfeiture order relating to the recovered monies. So that's just one of the many anti-corruption cases. In fact, this one dates back decades ago. Many more still hanging. And the big question is, what is their fate? What is the state of that anti-corruption fight of this administration of President Muhammadu Buhari? Corruption was said to be fighting back at some point, but how well are we fighting back, making a counter fight towards corruption? Well, let's speak with our guest tonight. He's a detective and a law enforcement agent. He was trained by the United States Federal Bureau of Investigation, the FBI, Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, and United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime. In February 2021, he was nominated as a substantive chairman of the EFCC and confirmed by the National Assembly. The youngest chairman of the EFCC till date, Mr. Abdulrasheed Bawa, joins us on the program this evening. Thank you for joining us, Chairman of the EFCC. I'd like to begin by tying back to that story about the recovery of the loot. And I just want to get your perspective to this. Is the EFCC in the know about this latest recovery?
Well, it's an old thing. It's just as you mentioned in your in your introduction, is something that has been going for long. I've not received an official briefing regarding the issue from NCA. So when the time comes, we'll be able to brief Nigerians regarding the latest issue at hand.
But to what extent usually is Nigeria involved in this recovery process? It looks like a lot of the action happens outside of the country, but I want to imagine that we're also very much involved in maybe investigations and eventual repatriation.
Certainly, we are involved in every stage of the inquiry that they are making out there, as well as what we are also doing here to complement what they are doing. They will not be able to achieve what they achieve without the input of Nigeria, and of course in recent years without the input of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. Some of these things have already been settled, looking at a series of agreements that were reached by the federal government, as well as the subjects that we are talking about. So, but it's just a continuation of some of the processes to ensure that the funds are returned back to the victim, which is Nigeria.
Just give us an insight, if you can, Chairman, because this is something that touches the very core of this administration's promise to Nigeria, the fight against corruption. And I think it's important to also help Nigerians understand what is being done, especially because right now we could use a lot of these funds, right? We could at least do a lot with the repatriation of these funds. So if you say that this is just one of perhaps many, and it's been a long time coming, are you saying that we should be expecting more?
Well, there are more that are coming from other cases that, we are working on together with our international partners. Of course, we are also, looking at so many new things as well, as the Commission. By and large, of course, you can't expect me at this, stage of investigation to be telling the world regarding what we are doing or how we are doing it or who we are looking at to ensure that we get back these funds, for the use of Nigerians. But we are working on a daily basis. Just recently, a former PAMSEC was convicted by Federal High Court in Lagos, and of course, millions of naira and thousands of United States dollars were forfeited to the federal government. So it's an ongoing thing. Day in, day out, we're out there, to ensuring that we are recovering these funds for the benefit of the victims.
Yeah, just quickly on this one, how soon are we expecting the money repatriated? Because that's the important part as well.
Well, as soon as practicable.
Okay. All right. So let's move you perhaps to a very interesting area, which is politics. I know that, I mean, the president has said that, well, this fight against corruption is not political. But, I mean, you can't exactly divorce the EFCC or anti-corruption agencies from, things that happen within the political space, especially. So I'd like to ask you, with this, recent trend of, picking of nomination forms by, aspirants with a cost, 40 million, 100 million naira. I wonder if this is catching the attention of the EFCC in any way, because that's quite some money.
Well, of course, it's quite some money. It will take a lifetime for you to save 40 million or 100 million. But, as you know, when it comes to the issue of monitoring of, election funds as well as candidate funds, that has to do with the work of INEC in this regard. But of course, we are working hand in gloves with INEC as well as other related, agencies in that field to ensure that we follow the money, we know the source, we know, whether it is legitimate or illegitimate, because that is, what concerns us. But above all, of course, you know that we are concerned about good governance. We are concerned about transparency, accountability. We are also concerned about ensuring that corrupt, elements are not given leadership position in this country. And that is one of the things that we are working behind the scene to ensure that at least we make our own position known on some certain, actors, within the space of politics in this country.
So are you saying the EFCC will be willing to maybe partner with other appropriate agencies to investigate in some of these funds?
Certainly, that is why we are here. That is part of our mandate, to investigate every movement of any fund to ensure legitimacy of it or otherwise. So of course we are partnering, not that we are willing to partner, we are partnering already. We are working together to ensure some certain sanity within the system.
All right. So recently also, Chairman, news went rife that the EFCC may be probing some senior officials of the Ministry of Justice over suspicion of corruption in the compilation of presidential pardon list. Is that true?
Well, I saw that on the pages of newspaper. Maybe Kaide help me with that. It has been our character and it has been, our aim to ensure that what we are doing on investigation stage is being sealed until proper findings are made at the end of investigation.
So aren't you curious, just to be clear, that some names on that list have been quizzed by the EFCC in previous times?
The names, like what? What name?
Some of the names on the pardon list.
The names on the pardon list,
yes.
Some of them that were pardoned, of course, we are the one that prosecuted them.
So that's why I'm asking. Aren't you curious that their names, came on that list? Isn't that something that piques your interest as well?
No. We have done our part. Ours is to investigate. Ours is to prosecute. As I said time and time again, Nigerians need to learn to trust our leaders. We need to learn to trust our leaders. It is within the prerogative of the government to do what they did, and they did that, and we welcome it with open arms. They have reasons why they did that, and of course, it is constitutional mandate that was given to them to execute using their own discretion, and they use that. So we have to learn to trust, our leaders. The Council of State is the highest executive decision-making body, and they came up with that position, and we have to trust and respect their position in that, because after all, the highest law in the land, make that provision for them to act on, and they acted on. So we move on.
All right, Chairman, I'd like to pause you for a moment to bring this breaking news to our viewers. News just in has it that the meeting of presidential aspirants on the platform of the All Progressives Congress, APC, in the Southwest, convened by the former governor of Osun State, Mr. Bisi Akande, and former governor of Ogun State, Olusegun Osoba, is underway in Lagos House, Marina. Well, present at that meeting are the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, the former Governor of Lagos State, Bola Tinubu, Speaker of the House of Representatives, Governors of Lagos, Ogun, Osun, and the Ministers of Works and Housing, Trade, Industry and Investment, the Minister of Interior, amongst others. We'll bring you more updates as soon as we get them. Again, the meeting of presidential aspirants on the platform of the All Progressives Congress in the Southwest, convened by former Governor of Osun State, Mr. Bisi Akande, and the former Governor of Ogun State, Olusegun Osunbah, is underway in Lagos House, Marina. Clearly a landmark event, and we'll be bringing you the outcome of that meeting very, very soon as we get them. Well, let's continue our conversation with the chairman of the EFCC, Mr. Abdulrasheed Bawa. Well, it's the season, Mr. Bawa, so you'd understand why we have to take a moment from the conversation to bring our viewers some of the political updates in the nation. But let's talk about some of the work you're doing in the EFCC. Recently, no fewer than 59 suspects were put on the wanted list of the EFCC for various fraudulent activities, put at 435 billion naira, 165 billion naira. Can you help Nigerians understand just how the import of that particular case or those cases?
Well, they are what you have been reading, and again, this time around also, Kayode, I don't want to go into details of that. Some of them are wanted. Of course, we want to have them, to interrogate them, to interview them, so that we will have a clearer picture of what actually happened. So it will not be what we want for us to, say the nitty-gritty or the, details of what they did, so that they will not go under again, and all of it. So I think it's better we leave it at that. We have declared them wanted. We want them. For any Nigerians that have information, regarding their whereabouts, let him come forward and use the app. The Eagle Eye is there to reach out to us. We'll be able to follow through and ensure that they face justice. They have crossed the line, and we want them to come and answer to one or two questions. And
I think it's important, we'll just wind down on this, Chairman. I mean, this point you made, there have been concerns that, some of the cases we've seen, I mean, it looked like strong cases really to the public, and then it goes to court and eventually it falls through. And there have been questions as to why this is the case. And I wonder, is this one of the new strategies to ensure that you have a watertight case, especially when you're at the court?
Kayode, we always have watertight cases. Look, we are the prosecutors. We don't go to court if we are not sure that we have a very, very good and strong case, and that is why we are in court. Last year, the statistics has shown that we concluded 2,256 and we won 2,220. That is about 46% success rate. So we always have watertight case. If we don't have, we don't go to court. You understand? But, there are a lot of things that happen that is part of our job, is part of what we have to live with. Of course, the judiciary is helping us in several ways. Are we saying that we are perfect? Certainly not. Are we saying that there is room for improvement? Certainly yes. So, but we have to do our part, and then of course we leave it to the judiciary and to determine.
And we wish you the very best in that. We'd like to thank you so much, the Chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Mr. Abdulrasheed Bawa, for sharing some insight into the work of the EFCC on the program tonight.
Thank you very much for having me.